بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد الحمد لله ما شاء الله لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Alhamdulillah, we continue going over the tremendous book, which is very beneficial, small in size, but very beneficial and very great in scope in that which it covers and its benefit. And that is the tremendous book by the Allama Fadilat al-Shaykh al-Imam bin Baz rahmatullah alayh, Durus al-Muhimma li'amat al-Ummah, important lessons for every Muslim. And we're reading from the sharh, from the explanation of the Fadilat al-Shaykh Sheikh Abdul Razak bin Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad al-Badr hafidhahumullah ta'ala. We are still on the first section, and that's the section that's dealing with those surah. First Al-Fatiha, and then those surah, or those surahs, the Englishization of the word, from Surah Al-Zalzala to Al-Nas. From Surah Al-Zalzala to Surah Al-Nas. Again, I want to encourage everyone who is serious about benefiting from these classes to memorize these surah, memorize them. And those important points that are mentioned, to memorize those as well. And it is important that we couple memorization with our studies, because if not, then a person, his benefit will be very little, or her benefit will be very little. But we have to memorize bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, because memorization, then this is a means and a road to understanding. Memorization is not the goal within itself. However, it is a means, and it's very important to memorize. Because the goal is to act in accordance to what we know. Right? The goal is to act in accordance to what we know. In order to do that, then we have to have ilm, we have to have knowledge. لأن العلم قبل القول والعمل, because knowledge precedes statements and actions. And we have to understand. And from those things that help us to understand, then it is to memorize. As the poet, he says, إن لم تكن حافظا واعيا فجمعك للعلم لا ينفع. The poet, he says, إذا لم تكن حافظا واعيا فجمعك للعلم لا ينفع أتحضر في مجلس بجهلك وعلمك في قطب المستودع. He says, if you don't become one who memorizes and one who safeguards and preserves the knowledge, meaning with his heart, he said, then your collecting and gathering of knowledge, it will not benefit you. He said, do you present yourself inside of the gathering with your ignorance, while your knowledge is safely tucked away somewhere in books? And this is the reality, is that if we are not memorizing the likes of these things, then we will have to say, and have to be of those who say, well, let me get back to you, let me go look at the book again, and then I can tell you, or the like. So it's important that we have this ilm memorized. And this was also the advice of Imam bin Baz rahmatullah alayh, is that we learn how these chapters, how they should be recited, and we learn how to properly read them, and we memorize them and we study their meanings. We memorize them and we study their meanings. Now, so with that being the case, the intention is not to take a great portion in each week's class as far as the explanation, and we'll try to keep it fairly simple so that it can maybe easily attained and understood. And this is because every surah that we come to, if an individual had not memorized that surah up until this point, then that will be their homework for the week, to memorize the surah. Now, alhamdulillah, we concluded with the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha, and walillahi alhamd, everyone has memorized Surah Al-Fatiha. Now, so alhamdulillah, as far as the memorization of the surah was concerned, then many of us didn't have any homework for that week. But now we're coming to Surah Al-Zalzala. Naam. So those who have not memorized this tremendous surah, then it is your homework for the week to memorize this surah. And it is your homework for the week, yani. And there's no excuse why a person couldn't memorize this surah in 1 week. There's no excuse. Naam. Because the reality of it is that this surah can be memorized in a half an hour or so, naam, or less. You can memorize in a very short period of time. But we're giving everyone a week. And this surah, it comprises of 8 ayat. Naam, of 8 ayat. So basically, if a person starting from tomorrow were to take an ayah a day, and then in one of those days, from those 7 days, will take 2 ayat that day. Naam, then they will finish the surah with ease. They'll finish the surah with ease. Naam. And for those who maybe you have some time off or you have a day that's free and the like, then I will encourage you at the very bare minimum, at the very bare minimum, to memorize 1 ayah after every prayer. To memorize 1 ayah after every prayer. And I know that's very, very easy. No one should be able to not do that. And Allah musta'an. And I apologize, for there's some technical difficulties with the room, as the title is not coming up correctly. That's why we closed it and came back in and tried to adjust that, but the problem seems to be on Mixler's end, so it's still showing the title from the last class. So for those who are just coming in, we do apologize, but this is the class that is the explanation of the important lessons. It's not the class that we had taken previously in the week. Now, so if everyone were to take 1 ayah after every prayer, you'll be done, right? So I'm confident that everyone will be able to memorize this surah. And for those who have already memorized this surah, then review it inshallah ta'ala, and help those in your family who have yet to memorize it. Naam, help them memorize it. Bidnillahi ta'ala. Naam. The Shaykh, he begins this chapter just by bringing the surah itself. And that is Allah Ta'ala's statement, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. When the earth is shaken with its final earthquake. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. And when the earth throws out its burdens. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. And man will say, what is the matter with it? يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. On that day, it will declare its information about all that had happened over it, be it good or evil. بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. Because your Lord will inspire it to do so. يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ mankind will proceed in scattered groups, that they may be shown their deeds. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. So whoever does good equal to the weight of an atom or a small ant, then they will see it. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. And whoever does the evil that is equal to a weight of an atom or a small ant, they will see it. Whoever does evil equal to the weight of an atom or a small ant, they shall see it. These surah are tremendously powerful and life-changing, like every surah in the Qur'an. Like every surah in the Qur'an. Naam. But these surah, due to the smallness of their size, it's very easy and attainable for every Muslim to be well grounded in them. Right? It's very easy and attainable for every Muslim to be well grounded in them, because they're small in size. Yet the benefit and the fruit that come from understanding these surah are very tremendous, life-changing. They contain that which is most needed with regard to preparing for the last day, preparing to meet Allah Azza wa Jal. These surah contain that which is needed to help us in that preparation. To help us in that preparation. So there was no mistake that Imam bin Baz rahmatullah alayhi, he suggested that every Muslim should know these surah. And again, surah, this is the jama'. Surah, this is the jama'. This is the plural of surah. This is the plural of surah. طيب. Shaykh Abdul Razak hafidhahullah ta'ala, he says, هذه السورة العظيمة سورة الزلزلة. He said that this surah is tremendous. This surah is tremendous. The surah which is entitled Az-Zalzala. And Az-Zalzala, they translate that to mean the earthquake. The earthquake. And then we'll see why it has this name very, very shortly. The Shaykh, he says, فيها ذكر الرب جل وعلا لأهوال العظيمة التي تكون بين يدي قيام الساعة. He said, in this surah, our Lord, the Lord, He informs us and mentions some of the things, some of the great events that are going to happen prior to the establishment of the hour, or at the establishment of the hour. فإن مما يكون بين يدي الساعة أو بين يدي قيام الساعة تزلزل الأرض وهو ارتجاجها واهتزازها. He says is that when the hour is established, slightly before or at the establishment of the hour, then the earth, it will shake. The earth, it will shake. And what that means that there will be an earthquake is that it will violently shake. It will violently shake, and it will be an earthquake the likes of which was never seen before. It will be an earthquake that is unprecedented. Now, a tremendous earthquake. Now, there are many of us who maybe understand the concept of the earthquaking, but walillahil hamd, live in regions where we have never experienced an earthquake. However, those who live in areas and they have experienced an earthquake, then they will have some type of understanding to know that earthquakes are nothing that is like a walk in the park. Earthquakes are scary. They're scary occurrences. Now, even when they happen and they're little earthquakes and the after tremors and so on and so forth, these things are scary. But we're talking here about an earthquake that will be stronger and more violent in its shaking than any other earthquake ever. And not only that, but it will be an earthquake that is not geospecific. It's an earthquake that is not geospecific, meaning that it won't just happen in one region. You're talking about a global event where the earth will be shaken like it had never shook before. This will be a tremendous earthquake. Na'am. So already from this standpoint alone, we already understand and see that this is what a tremendous occurrence. This is an occurrence that is beyond terrifying. Beyond terrifying. Na'am. This is a tremendous occurrence. This type of earthquake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. And when the earth shakes, it shakes, إِرْتَجَّتْ, when it shakes violently, وَاحْتَزَّتْ, and it's shaking and moving and everything all around, وَتَحَرَّكَتْ, and it's moving violently, right? وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. And not only is the earth shaking violently, not only is this an earthquake that is unprecedented, not only is this the earthquake that no Richter scale can measure, but even with that, the earth shall be expelling. It shall be expelling أثقالها. It shall be expelling أثقالها. What is intended by أثقالها? What is intended by this word? The earth will be throwing out its burdens. Will be throwing out those things that are contained therein. So not just the earth is shaking, but that which is inside of it will be being expelled from it. The Shaykh, he says, أي أخرجت الأرض ما في بطنها من الأموات الذين دفنوا فيها وألقت ما فيها من كنوز. He says is that the earth will be shaken violently and it will be expelling. The earth will be expelling that which is contained inside of it. Now, this is the meaning, Juyaanee, fi batniha. A batn, what is inside the earth, what is in the innermost portion of the earth. It will be throwing whatever is inside of it out from those individuals who they were, for those individuals who were dead and buried inside the earth. The bodies will be coming out of the earth now. You understand? The bodies will be coming out of the earth now. Those who were dead, now the bodies are being cast out of the earth. And the treasures of the earth will be cast out of the earth. So all of the precious minerals and the like will be thrown out of the earth. If someone had a treasure and they were burying something to keep it for safe, it will be thrown out of the earth. Whatever is in the earth will be thrown out of the earth. Okay? Whatever is in the earth will be thrown out of the earth. وهذا إخراج لهؤلاء الناس من الأرض هو إذان بقيام الساعة والوقوف بين يدي الله تبارك وتعالى. And the expelling of those human beings, of mankind, who was dead. They was in the earth, they was dead. But now they have been resurrected, thrown and cast out of the earth. And this is something that is important, and I want to just highlight on it, because the ulama of tafsir, they mentioned that the fact that the bodies will be expelled from the earth is an indication that this is a day, this is Juyaanee for the day of reckoning, but this is a day that no one can hide from it. No one can hide. You understand? Even if a person had for a second thought, you know what, I'm just going to stay here in my grave and hang out. I don't want to, I'm going to let that happen. I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to just skate underground. No. Everything will be cast out. Even if they don't want to come out the grave, they'll be cast out. Quickly, Allah Ta'ala, He tells us in other parts of the Qur'an, they'll be cast out quickly. There's no escape, there's no hiding. There's no escape and there's no hiding. And that's something that we have to really think about, and we have to really contemplate over. And it is incumbent that we as individuals, we really take ownership of our actions. That we take ownership of our actions, and that we are responsible, and we interact with ourselves in a manner that is befitting, that we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in how we deal with ourselves. And that means that we should always be striving to do those things that benefit us and not those things that will pollute us and destroy us and corrupt us, because we're only hurting ourselves to our own detriment. So we should think about this, because this is an event that we're all going to experience. You know, some years ago when they had the earthquake in South America, those there experienced it. We didn't experience it. We heard about it, read about it, right? But we didn't experience it. When the earthquake happened in Japan, you know, in the past, they experienced it. Those in that area experienced it. We didn't experience it. We heard about it, read about it. We didn't experience it. But we're talking about here something, an event that everybody's going to experience. Everyone's going to experience. Meaning that what? Even if you're not alive on that day, meaning if you wasn't walking around the earth or whatever alive on that day or what have you, still, this is the time where the bodies will be cast out of the graves. So you're still going to go through, you're still going to experience it. You're going to be cast out the grave. This is the day now where it's time for the hour to be established. The Shaykh, he says, when this happens and the human beings, they're cast out of the earth, then this is what? This is like the announcement of the establishment of the hour. This is like the announcement of the establishment of the hour, and that now, and the standing between, or the standing in front of Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And the standing in front of Allah, Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Na'am. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. And the human beings, they will be saying, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with the earth? Ay, يَقُومُ الْإِنسَانُ. I want you to think about this. I want you to deeply contemplate on this, okay? Because this is something that we're all going to experience. He says, that an individual, meaning يقوم الإنسان من قبره إلى حشره ووقوفه بين يد ربه جل وعلا, is that the individual who will come out of his grave, going to the place of gathering, come out of his grave, going to the place of gathering, now, to stand in front of his Lord Azza wa Jal. And while this is going on, due to the tremendous nature of the events that are going to be taking place, this individual, he will be مذهولا من هذا الأمر العجيب والمنظر المهول, is that he will be baffled and confused. Such a tremendous event, he'll be baffled and he will be confused, right? Due to this tremendously strange event, due to this tremendously astonishing event, and due to what he'll be seeing from this astounding and horrific scene. This will be a scene that's horrific. I mean, can you try to picture the likes? The earth is shaking, everything that is in it is being cast out. This is a horrific scene. This is horrific. A person, he'll be terrified. He'll be terrified. Especially knowing that he has to answer now for everything he did in his life. He has to answer now for everything he did in his life, or for everything she did in her life. قَائِلًا, and at this time they'll be saying, مَا لَهَا, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with the earth? مَا لِلْأَرْضِ حَصَى لَهَا هَذَا الَّذِي حَصَلْ. What's wrong with the earth? That what has happened to it is happening. What's wrong with the earth that this right here is happening? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us and make us of those who have an easy reckoning on the day of judgment. Ameen. Not only is the earth shaking like it never shook before, not only is the earth casting out all of the things that were within it, but also on that day, Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. And on that day, the earth shall give an account. The earth shall give a testimony. The earth shall speak about that which was done on top of her. Allah. The Shaykh, he says, يَوْمَ إِذٍ, commenting on Allah Ta'ala's statement, يَوْمَ إِذٍ, on that day, يَوْمُ الْقِيَامَةِ, meaning the day of Qiyamah, the day of resurrection, the day of standing, the day of judgment. تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا, on that day it shall give an account, it shall speak, it shall tell what had happened. It shall tell what had happened. It will declare its information. Naam, it will declare its information. تحدث الأرض بما كان عليها وما فعله الناس فوقها من خير أو شر. The earth, it will speak. It will declare its information. It will tell on what the human beings used to do on top of it. Be it good or evil. Be it good or evil. It will inform, it will tell what the human being used to do. وَهَذَا فِيهَا أَنَّ الْأَرْضَ تشهد بما حصل عليها من أخبار وأحوال وأقوال وأعمال قام بها الناس. Is that the earth, it will testify as to what had taken place on top of it, from the information of what had taken place, from the different situations and instances that had taken place, from the different statements and the different actions that the human beings did. The earth will tell what was done on top of her. The earth will tell. وَهِيَ شَهَادَةٌ مِنْهَا عَلَيْهِمْ بِأَمْرِ اللَّهِ. And this is a testimony in which the earth, it will give about the human beings by the command of Allah. So the earth, depending upon what we have done, it will either be a witness that is for us, or it will be witnessing against us. So we need to reflect, and this is what I mean, we really need to take ownership of our actions. We need to take ownership of our actions and prepare ourselves for this tremendous day. And the way that we prepare ourselves for this day, first and foremost, and I want everyone to listen very, very close, that the way we prepare ourselves for this day, first and foremost, is by believing correctly in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is by establishing the tawheed. It's by living our lives according to the Qur'an. It's by believing properly in the messengers. It's by believing properly in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and clinging to the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's by being upon the way of the believers. It's by being upon the way of the believers, meaning the Sahaba and those who follow them in good. We have to avoid whatever is contrary to that. So shirk must be avoided. All forms and all types of shirk have to be avoided. Bid'ah must be avoided, because this is in contradiction to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of that must be avoided from the different types of bid'ah. Likewise, we have to understand the text of the book and the sunnah upon the understanding of the Salaf of this ummah, upon the understanding of the Sahaba. In other words, from the greatest means that we utilize to prepare for Yawm al-Qiyamah is by being Salafy. Is by being Salafy. Naam. Bila shak wa bila rayb. Without doubt, undoubtedly. If you want to prepare correctly for Yawm al-Qiyamah, you gotta be Salafi. There's no other way. No way. No other way. And then we have to strive. Of course, right? We have to strive to be wholesome, goodly, to obey Allah Azza wa Jalla and what He has commanded us to do. To stay away from that which He has prohibited us from doing. And when we come up short, because we're human beings and we're going to come up short, we have to be quick in turning to Allah in repentance and repenting unto Allah Azza wa Jal. We have to be quick in doing this, because this ayah here is another indication that there is no hiding. You will never escape from anything. Because listen, from the many things that are going to testify either for us or against us, one of them is the earth. She will testify either for you or against you that you did such and such at such and such a time in such and such a place. She's going to tell on you. She's going to tell. And I want you to remember this, because you see sometimes people, they have the mentality that if nobody know, then it's okay. Right? And this is why, we, or again, no one knows who we care about, then we're okay. And this is why it's such great advice, the Prophet ﷺ, what he gave, where he says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَيْثُمَا كُنْتَ. Fear Allah wherever you may be. Fear Allah wherever you may be. Why? Because when a person traveling, he's in a strange place, no one knows him, this, that, and that, he could do things that never reach back to what? To his network, to his circle. Never reach back. But the reality is that what? Allah is going to judge us. Allah knows what we're doing. Allah sees what we're doing. Okay? The malaika, they are writing down what we do. Whatever we do is recorded. It's recorded. Our limbs, Yawmul Qiyamah, right? The limbs, Yawmul Qiyamah, our body, Yawmul Qiyamah, the bodies, Yawmul Qiyamah, will testify. Right? So, and then what? Then the earth will testify. There is no escape. There is no escape. So we should never let the mentality be that as long as I can get away with it, I'm cool with it. That shouldn't, because that's the mentality of what? Of the criminals. That's the mentality of the criminals. As long as I get away with it, I'm okay with it. No, we should never feel okay, safe and secure, because at the end of the day, beginning of the day, the middle of the day, what Allah sees is Allah knows. Allah already knows. Naam, Allah already knows. And really that's enough. Even if the earth don't talk, even if our limbs don't talk, even if the angels don't write it down, Allah already knows it. Allah already knows. And that right there is enough. And that right there is enough. But the reality of it is that what? Allah knows. And Allah Ta'ala has commanded the angels to write and record. Allah Ta'ala on the day of judgment will command the earth to speak. Allah Ta'ala will command the limbs, Yawmul Qiyamah, to speak. And give them the ability to speak and to say exactly what was done. Exactly what was done. So the hand will say exactly what it did. The leg will say exactly what it walked toward. The earth will say exactly what had happened on top of it. This surah, if you really think about this surah, this is the type of surah that will help anybody with any type of rehab. Seriously. Any type of rehab, a person may be going through some type of vice and it has them, right? And they're afflicted with it and so on and so forth. This surah, the Qur'an, period, is that which will help them get over whatever's plaguing them, will help her get over whatever's plaguing her. If they contemplate and understand the meanings and they think about and they realize that this is real, more realer than whatever they're looking at right now. This is real. This will help them kick any bad habit. Right? And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and to fortify us upon the truth and to make our hearts firm upon His religion and to save us from the evils of our souls, to save us from the evils of ourselves and from the bad consequences of our sins. Ameen. Allah will command the earth to speak and the earth will speak. يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها. On that day it will speak and it will give its testimony because its Lord had commanded it to do so. Allah Ta'ala commanded the earth to talk and the earth will say everything that had happened on top of it. أي أمرها وأذن لها بهذه الشهادة. That Allah Ta'ala, He will command the earth to talk and He will give the earth permission to bring forth its testimony. To bring forth its testimony. ثم بعد ذلك الشيخ عبد الرزاق حفظه الله تعالى, he says that then after that يكون حال الناس الصدور من الأرض أو من أرض الموقف لملاقاه الجزاء والحساب كل بحسب عمله. He said, and then after that, the human beings, they will come forward from the earth to the place of meeting, where they will be standing in the place of meeting, in the place where they will be judged, and they will receive their reckoning, every individual according to his actions. Now, and I want us to think about this, especially the younger brothers and the younger sisters. Now, and of course, it's also applicable to the oldest, the older people as well, the elders and the older people as well. But I want the young people to really think about this, because young people they suffer a lot more from peer pressure than perhaps older people, and even some older people they suffer from peer pressure as well. But it's more prevalent amongst younger people, right? They suffer from peer pressure. Let me tell you something. Just because everyone else is doing it, that don't mean nothing. Because if you also do it, then you'll be judged according to what you did. And you can't come and say, oh, but they was with me and they did this and they did that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You understand? End of the day, it doesn't matter. Your excuses don't matter. I'll give you an example. A simple example. So therefore we can understand that which is bigger than it. If your parent, right, if the parent tells the children, don't eat any cookies, right? Maybe she just bake cookies, mother just bake cookies, or your father just bake cookies, right? They're cooling off on the stove, and then he tells the children, or the mother tells the children, no one is allowed to eat cookies now, because it will spoil your dinner. The cookies will be dessert, but you can't eat the cookies until or after you eat dinner. Okay? Then one of the kid, he gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Right? He gets caught. He got chocolate chip on his face, he got chocolate on his face, crumbs in his lap, right? And then usually what kids say, they was eating cookies too. Right? They was eating cookies too. Like, and okay, that could be true. They was also eating cookies too, right? But think about it. Them eating cookies. What does that got to do with you? That doesn't change the fact that you too were eating cookies. Okay? So you're not going to be able to come Yawmul Qiyamah and say, yeah, but I was just rolling with a crew and that's what they was doing, so that's what we did. No. You roll with a crew that does haram stuff and you partake in it, then you can't use them as an excuse. So they did it. Okay, they'll be held accountable for what they have done, and you are still going to be held accountable for what you have done. Okay? So I want us to all remember that when we, after this tremendous day, we're all going to have to answer for what we have done. Kullu bihasbi amalihi, everyone according to what they have done, their actions. Yawma idin, Yawm al-Qiyamah, on that day, meaning the day of judgment, the day of standing. Yasduru nasu ashtata, the people, they will come out in groups. Naam. They will come out in groups. And I want you to think about that. Naam. Also, just a quick benefit from tajweed wise, this ayah here is usually an ayah that people make a mistake on. Naam. It's usually an ayah where people, they make a mistake on. And that common mistake, it comes in making the dal mufakham, making it hard. When the dal is muraqqaq, is easy. Naam. And the reason they make it hard is because they come off of the sad. And the sad is hard, right? So it's yaus. And then usually they will say bu. Naam. Usually this is the common mistake, is that people will say yawma idin yasduru, and that's not correct. It's not yasduru, it's yasduru. Do easy, not do. So I want you to just pay attention to that, because that is a common mistake in this ayah. Naam, that's a common mistake in this ayah. يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ Naam, then when you keep going, يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا. The people, they will come on that day in groups. أَصْنَافًا وَأَجْنَاسًا. They will come in various groups and of various different types. كُلٌّ بِحَسَبِ عَمَلِهِ مِنْ خَيْرٍ أَوْ شَرٍّ. All of them, they will come in groups according to their actions, be it good or be it evil. Naam. All of them, they will come in groups according to their actions, be it good and being evil. I want us to think about this because listen, Yawm al-Qiyamah, do you want to be in a group of a bunch of evil people? Or do you want to be in a group of a bunch of good people? Of course, the person, he will say, no doubt, I want to be in a group of good people, good doers, people who's upon Tawheed, people who's upon Sunnah, people who are believers. I want to be in a group of good people. Naam, baby. If that's the case, then especially the youth really have to contemplate over imitating and being from the evil people today. Now, if on that day you don't want to be with the evil people, how can you stomach them today then? You understand? On that day you want to be with the believers, so how come today you want to look like the disbelievers? On that day you want to be with people who's righteous, so how come today you can tolerate those who are not righteous? Imitating the kuffar is from the means and from the roads of destruction. Imitating the kuffar is a way to go to hell. Okay? Imitating the kuffar is a way to go to hell. And if you don't want to be with the kuffar on that day, on the last day, then you better get yourself away from them, from imitating them today. Don't be like them in the dunya and think you're going to come in the akhirah and then want to, disassociate yourself from them. Because they're going to come in groups according to what they used to do. Now I want you to understand that. Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. A person will be with the one who he loves. Yawm al-Qiyamah. A person will be with the one who he loves. So is it coming that we love the righteous people? And we imitate the righteous people and try to be like them. And that we stay away from the evil people. Because we don't want to be with them. We don't want to be like them. We don't want to see them Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yawm al-Qiyamah, you want to see a bunch of kuffar? Yawm al-Qiyamah, you want to see a bunch of kuffar? Be surrounded by a bunch of kuffar? Yawm al-Qiyamah? No. No way. So it's incumbent that we remember that today. Because imitating the kuffar is from the ways of going to hell. So on that day, the people, they will be in groups according to what their actions were, be it good or be it evil. The people who did good will be with those who did good. Those who did evil will be with those who did evil. Limada? Why? Lish? لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُمْ, so that they may see their actions, or so that they may be shown their actions. Now, so that they may be shown their actions. يُعَايِنُوا وَيُشَاهِدُوا, so that they may see their actions with their own eyes. They may bear witness to themselves what they had done. They will be shown what they did. Naam. وَيَقِفُوا عَلَى مَا قَدَّمُوا وَاقْتَرَفُوا مَا فَعَلُوهُ مِنْ أَعْمَالٍ سَوَاءٌ كَانَتْ الْأَعْمَالُ خَيْرًا أَوْ شَرًّا, is that they will be shown their deeds, they will see it, they will witness it, and they will be stopped in their place and shown that which they have put forward, and they will acknowledge it. They will acknowledge that this is in fact what they had done. So at this time now, when you're being shown your deeds, I want us to remember, when we walk in today, when we work in today, when we're doing today, let us make sure that we're doing today what we'll be comfortable seeing tomorrow. We're doing today what we will be comfortable being shown to us tomorrow. Now, how many of us will want to say, or will want to see that all these days he was reading the Qur'an, reading hadith, listening to lectures from the ulama, benefiting, praying, making voluntary prayers, voluntary fasting, giving charity, being good to people, smiling, having good adab, so on and so forth, being kind and gentle and good to one's parents. So how many people want to see that? All of us want to see that. Well, when we sit down and we think about those things that we want to be shown to us Yawm al-Qiyamah, then we'll have a beautiful list. But then if we take that list and then we compare it to actually what we do day to day, Allahu Musta'an. Allah Musta'an. How many do you want to come Yawm al-Qiyamah and then say, oh yeah, for all these hours you listen to this record, you listen to that record, you listen to this concert, you went to that concert, you went to this party, you was drinking this, you was smoking that, you was hanging around with this, you was stealing that. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see that. On this day from the days you was watching this, you was subhanAllah, no one wants to see that. No one want to see that. Right? That wouldn't make you happy. Even thinking about it makes a person feel uncomfortable. So now, what about now, Yawm al-Qiyamah, where there is no time to make it right. There is no time to make tawbah. But what's done was done. It's over. It's done. Now you're being shown what you did. Now you got to answer for it. So it's incumbent that we strive from right now to lessen the marks against us, those marks against us from the sins that we have done, that we try to lessen that. You lessen that by what? By striving to stay away from sins. This is how you lessen your sins, is that you strive to stay away from them, right? Because if you want to lessen them, then you don't want to add to them. So you don't add to them by what? By striving to stay away from sin. That's the one approach that's necessary in tackling this problem of sins. Is that one, we strive to stay away from sins. That's one. Two, we increase in making tawbah, making repentance unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those sins that we have done. And three, we increase in asking Allah to forgive us. We increase in istighfar. We increase in istighfar. And we increase in those deeds by way in which remove sins. We increase in those deeds by way in which remove sins. This is how we tackle that problem of sinning. This is how we tackle that problem of sins. So that we can minimize what is in our record of bad deeds. We can minimize that. And also in doing that, we will be increasing our record of good deeds, because we will be adding all these good deeds to our record of good deeds. You understand? And this is going to be so important, especially when our deeds now are being weighed. It'll be so important, especially when our deeds are being weighed. So these are things that we have to be conscious of and cognizant of here in the dunya while we are here right now. The Shaykh goes on and he says, "Muhsatan alayhim," that our deeds will be enumerated upon us. Will be enumerated upon us. Now, I know, just think about that. It will be enumerated upon us. How much sin the person did. وهذا الإحصاء للأعمال خيرها وشرها. And this enumeration of what's going to be mentioned is the mentioning of the actions, be they good or be they evil. Be they good or be they evil. But to what extent? Like, are some actions not going to be mentioned and then other actions mentioned? They will be mentioned, the Shaykh says, بِمَثَاقِيلِ الذَّرَّةِ, is that they will be mentioned to the extent of the atom. Naam. The atom, a dharr, a very small ant or atom's weight. So that means that what? Everything will be mentioned. Nothing will go, or be seen and enumerated. I should say this. Now, everything will be seen and enumerated. Now, nothing will be missing. Nothing will be missing from the book. يَرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُمْ كُلَّهَا. They will see their actions, all of them. They will see their actions, all of them. لَا يُنْقَصُ مِنْ عَمِلِهِمْ شَيْءٌ. Nothing will be missing from their actions. Nothing will be taken away from it. It always going to be there. لَا مِنْ خَيْرِ الْعَمَلِ وَلَا مِنْ شَرِّهِ. No good will be left out, and no evil will be left out. لَا مِنْ قَلِيلِهِ وَلَا مِنْ كَثِيرِهِ. the great abundance, or yani the small won't be left, nor will the big be left. It's all going to be there. ثم ينالون الثواب على عمل الصالح والعقاب على عمل السيء, and then they will be rewarded for their good deeds, and they will be punished for their bad deeds. They will be rewarded for their good deeds and or punished for their bad deeds. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who are rewarded and those who are forgiven when we meet Him. Then Allah Ta'ala says, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ, and whoever does the atom's weight of good will see it. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ, and whoever does the atom's weight of evil will see it. الذرة هي الواحدة من الصغار النمل. The dharra, this was the name that was used for the really, really small ants. Those really, really small ants, right? Like the sugar ants, and those ants are very, very tiny, right? And even ants, I believe, are smaller than sugar ants. But the really, really small ant, this was the name that was used for the dharra. But also the dharra, it means also what? An atom. So even that which is smaller than that little ant will be seen. So, which is to show that all of our deeds will be seen. All of our deeds will be seen. Naam, all of them. No matter how big, no matter how small, they'll be seen. Naam. The Shaykh, he says, وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ بِمَثَاقِيلِ الذَّرِّ, and that the scale on the Day of Judgment will be a scale that weighs things to the atom's weight, right? Because how different scales have different measurements, right? Kilo, pound, whatever, what I'm saying? Different measurements. Okay, well, this scale, Yawm al-Qiyamah, will measure things down to the atomic weight. You understand? You can't hide. You're not going to get away with anything. You can't get away with anything. Okay? So I wanted to also think about this when we do what we do. These are things to think about. So inshallah ta'ala, let us oft recite this surah, because it will be an aid to give us pause before we do those harmful things, to remember and realize it's really, really, really not worth it. The Shaykh goes on and he says, من ذر في الخير الأعمال وشرها, that it would weigh down to the atomic level, the atomic weight of the good actions or the bad actions, the good actions and the bad actions, or the actions, the good of them and the bad of them. وَهَذَا فِيهِ تَنْبِيهٌ, and in this, then this is a what? This is a tanbih. This is the giving notice, or to draw your attention, right? A reminder, wake you up, لِلْعِبَادِ, for the slaves, that what? أَلَّا يَحْقِرُوا مِنْ أَعْمَالِ الْخَيْرِ شَيْئًا, that they should never belittle any good deed. Don't belittle any good deed. Why? Because it's going to be weight, it's going to be seen, it's going to be there. So no matter how small it is, it's going to go in your favor. So never belittle any good deed. Don't say, oh, well, that's not, No, don't belittle any good deed. Don't. If there's a day where you're exhausted, you're not really, feeling that well, or whatever the case may be, you had a long day, your body's aching and you're hurting and all this type of stuff, still get up and pray one rak'at for witr. Don't say, oh, one rak'at for witr, that's only a little bit, so I'm just going to go to sleep, I can do better than one rak'at. No, if you know you're in that situation, then you're not going to wake up until Fajr. Pray one rak'at before you go to sleep. Don't belittle it. It's tremendous. Pray one rak'at of witr before you go to sleep. Don't belittle it. Likewise, if you look into your pocket and you don't have that much money, but you want to give something fi sabilillah, right? And you find a quarter, give a quarter. Don't say, oh, it's only a quarter, it's not worth giving it. No, it's worth giving it. Give a quarter, give a penny. Now, give a quarter, give a penny. Give what you can. Fear Allah to the best of your ability. فَاتَّقُوا مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. So fear Allah to the best of your ability. Don't belittle the good deeds, because it's going to be there. It's going to be there. And remember too, that the good deeds, that they are multiplied by 10. Okay? And that's the minimum. in a 700 ضعفاً until 700 times. So at the bare minimum, you gave a penny, you get reward like you gave a dime. That's the bare minimum. Now imagine that was multiplied up to 700 some odd times. You see? Then you really did a good job on that investment, right? That was a great yield on that investment. You gave a penny, it's multiplied 700 some odd times. Allahu Akbar. Naam, Allahu Akbar. So never belittle a good deed ever. Never belittle a good deed. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اتقوا النار ولو بشق تمرة. Fear the fire even if it's with a piece of a date. بشق التمرة, this is a piece. And if you only gave a piece of a date, not even a half of a date, if you just gave a piece of a date, you see, if you gave a piece of a date, person came and maybe you already bit the date in half. You know, a lot of times people beg date in half, take the seed out, right? And then maybe you bit the other half, and then somebody comes and you want to Siddiq alayhi, you want to give him some sadaqah. You say, hey, akhi, you want a piece of date? Give him a date. Give him a piece of date. Give him a piece of date. It's beneficial. It's beneficial. It's good for you. Now, give a piece of date. Even if it's a piece of date, give it. Give it. فإن الوزن يوم القيامة بمثاقيل الذر, because the weight, the scale on the day of judgment, it will be to what? To the atomic level. It will be to the atomic level. Naam, so never belittle a good deed. But at the same time, وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ أي من الخير يرى من خير يرى. نعم, من خير يرى. ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة أي من شر. ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة from evil شرا يرى. نعم. It's important that we understand that just like we don't belittle the good, because Allah Ta'ala says ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة خير يرى. Whoever does the good, the weight of an atom will see it. Likewise, we do not belittle and deem as insignificant the sin. Why? Because Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. And whoever does the atom's weight of evil, he will see it. Or she will see it. Naam, we will see it. The Shaykh, he says, أي عقوبة على أعماله جزاء وفاقا. He says is that whoever does the evil, they will see it, meaning that they will be punished for their actions in an appropriate manner. They'll be punished for their actions appropriately. Naam. وهذا فيه تحذير من الاستهانة بمحقرات الذنوب. And in this there will be a warning from belittling and deeming as insignificant and belittling the sins. You know, those things that people, they look at and say, oh, it's a small sin, right? No, don't belittle it. Don't belittle it. كما جاء في حديث عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها, because it comes inside of the hadith of Aisha رضي الله تعالى عنها فيما أخرجه إمام النسائي وابن ماجه, إمام ابن ماجه وصححه إمام الألباني, because of that which comes in is collected by Imam al-Nasa'i and Imam ibn Majah and has been graded as authentic by Imam al-Albani. From the hadith of Aisha رضي الله تعالى عنها, إياكم ومحقرات الأعمال فإن لها من الله طالبا. They said, beware of what's deemed to be insignificant evil deeds or insignificant sins, because verily from Allah there is one who is pursuing them. Meaning that what? Is that you will be held accountable for these sins. That you will be questioned about them. They're not going to slide because quote unquote they were just little, insignificant. No, they're going to be there. You're going to see them. So you have to be careful and never underestimate the value of a sin. Don't say, oh, that's just a little sin, insignificant. No, it's okay. How many people do that? Now they may the brothers, they may shave their beards and they may, they have isbal and all this. And they say, oh, that's just little. It's little to them because they're ignorant. Now, but it's not little in reality. Okay? But even if there was a sin by way in which we described it as such, or as little. Still, don't look at the smallness and the minuteness of the sin, as the Salafy say, but look at the greatness of the one who you are disobeying. Look at the greatness of the one who you are disobeying. And the shaitan, if he can't get you with the knockout blow, take you out all at once, then what do? He beats you down. How do you beat someone down? Just little stuff here and there. Little, till it becomes a lot. That's like if we tell a person, hey, I want you to hold some sand. Okay, no problem. And then we put inside your hand one sand particle at a time. Right? You be sitting there like, oh, this is nothing. I can do this all day long. But it's going to come a point we put enough sand on you where it's heavy now. You can't handle it no more. And I say, no, just put one more pebble, one more grain. No more grains. I can't even take this. You don't put, 200 pounds of sand on me. It's heavy now. Likewise, that small, it accumulates to something that's big until it destroys an individual. The poet, he said, خَلِّ الذُّنُوبَ صَغِيرَهَا وَكَبِيرَهَا ذَاكَ التُّقَى وَاصْنَعْ كَمَاشٍ فَوْقِ الْأَرْضِ الشَّوْكِ يَحْذَرُ مَا يَرَى لا تحقرن صغيرة فإن الجبال من الحصى. The poet, he said, what means, and stay away from evil, the small of it and the big of it, because that is piety. That is righteousness. That's piety. وَاصْنَعْ كَمَاشٍ فَوْقِ الْأَرْضِ الشَّوْقِ يَحْذَرُ مَا يَرَى. And be like the one who is walking over a path that is laden with thorns. Right? If you was walking over a path that's laden with thorns, Shaykh, and let's say you had no shoes on, you was barefoot. So one of the brothers said, well, I'll be wearing boots, man, it's alright. Nah, forget that. You got no shoes on. Okay? And there was thorns on it. Will you avoid just the big thorns and don't care and just step on the little thorns? No. You're going to avoid what? All the thorns. Right? Or let's say there were shards of glass on it. Would you avoid the big shards of glass but then step on the little shards of glass? No. You're going to avoid every shard of glass that you see because you don't want it to, damage your foot. You don't want to damage your foot. So the one that walks on the path, and to give an example, right, of how we should stay away from all the sins, be like the one who was walking on a path that's laden with thorns. Why? He's going to be cautious of what he sees. He's going to be very cautious of where he places his foot because he knows he don't want to step on a thorn. He don't want to step on a shard of glass. He don't want to step and get a splinter, be it from a metal shaving or from wood. He doesn't want to deal with that. So he's going to be very careful that where he steps at is nothing there. He's not going to say, just I'm worried about the big ones, I'll step on the little ones, it's fine. No, the little ones, you step on enough little ones, right? Your foot is going to be very bad shape. Very bad shape. Ma'am? And then he brings, Juyaanee, something that we need to remember. He said, don't belittle a sin, right? A small sin. He said, because verily the mountains are comprised of pebbles. The mountains are comprised of what? Of smaller rocks. Right? The mountains, they're comprised of smaller rocks. But if you put enough rocks together, you get a mountain. You get a mountain. And this is the way of the believer, is that the believer, he doesn't look at his sins like they're nothing, but the believer looks at their sins as if it is a mountain, and he's scared the mountain is going to fall on them. As the Prophet he told us in an authentic hadith, that the believer, he's scared, his sins to him is like a mountain that he's scared is going to fall on top of him. He's scared. But the criminal, to him, he looks at his sins like they're just a fly. A fly comes, it's in your nose, you shoo it away. That's how they look at sins. Like, oh, it's nothing. It's easy, it's nothing. Right? So we have to beware. Because this is from the biggest ways of being destroyed and not knowing that you're getting demolished. Is by underestimating and deeming as insignificant the sins. Oh, it's just a small sin, it's okay. Okay, yeah, but if you put a lot of them together, then it's not, that's going to be, it's going to be a lot for you to look at, Yawm al-Qiyamah. A lot for you to be regretful over. So ala kulli hal, is incumbent that we don't underestimate the sins. بل عليه أن يجتنب الذنوب كبيرها وصغيرها. He said, but rather it is upon him to stay away from the sins, the big of it and the small of it. وإن وقع في شيء منها بادر إلى التوبة والإنابة إلى الله تبارك وتعالى. And if he falls into something from the sins, if he falls into something from the sins, then he has to rush and he has to hasten to repent and to return unto Allah Azza wa Jal. He has to hasten to repent unto Allah, to make tawbah, to make repentance, and to increase in good deeds. To increase in good deeds. In wake of the commission of a sin. That he has to return to Allah Azza wa Jal repentively and increasing in righteous good deeds immediately with the haste when they fall into the sin. And then the Shaykh Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he gets into the next surah, which is the surah that follows Surah Zalzala in chronological order inside of the Mus'haf, and that is Surah Al-Adiyat. But Bithnillahi Ta'ala, we will save this until the next class. فنكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وجزاكم الله خيرا.